had a massive concert at Wembley Stadium, and it was like Live Aid had happened a couple of years before that, which we felt, it was quite a big event. But yeah, it was a really big event. I mean, just some big international thing. There was a New York bit, and Phil Collins got on Concorde and performed in London and then went to New York. And so there was this idea of, okay, we could do something similar for Mandela's 70th birthday, I think it was.
Jerry Dammers and people attached to Artists Against Apartheid, very prominent people like Jim Karve, Simple Minds and so on. So it was people like Jim Kerr and Jerry that came forward right at the beginning, which helped to open the doors to other artists who, at first pretty reluctant. What is this? It's nothing. How is it going to make a difference? But started to slowly come through.
Whole Mandela Freedom Campaign in 1988, because that was the year of his 70th birthday. And there was a huge concert at Wembley.
And my role was to work with Leicester Dixon, who offered to do it for free, basically a PR agency, worked with us and made their resources available to us to work through creating a pack of information for journalists, to get journalists on board, the media. At the time there was no social media, of course, it wasn't the same as now. So we had to go through the traditional routes, get papers and television companies involved and interested. So there was a lot of work to energise the media, and then of course to get people interested in the campaign in general and in all the different parts of it, which was all over the country. And by then we had, hundreds of groups all over the country to do things during that year, and they did, whether it was focused boycott campaigns or things themselves, events in their areas. There were things going on all over the country that year. It was fantastic.
And just that sense of, oh my God, I'm actually part of something really big here. We are big and important enough that we can do this. We can host the lineup was some pretty impressive people.
Getting the concert together was very hard work, as you can imagine, because we had a very, very large number of artists at the end. So we had somebody to help do the organisation, and Tony Hollingsworth, working with Jerry Dammers to get it together. And again, my role during that whole process was just to get the media involved and to keep feeding stories to them, develop a background, Mandela and his wife, as much as possible around the individuals, what's Zulu, Oliver Tambo and so on, get biographies of them sorted out, get them out to the press meetings, and then we'd have the exiles coming over and have interviews with them. So it was all of that was really hard work.
We had every single musician you could possibly imagine were performing at it. Peter Gabriel, Sting, George Michael, Annie Lennox, Eurythmics, Miriam Makeba, Hugh Masekela, Shakisha, who's a South African female group.
None of us had heard of a singer called Tracy Chapman. So there'd been all these big bands playing, and then suddenly there's this woman on a guitar singing. She was just amazing. So I remember that moment that just summed the whole thing up for me, of this sort of just a beautiful, beautiful, quiet moment in the midst of all this sort of enormous noise and enormous achievement. So that stands out just as an emotional thing. Wow, we're part of something big here. She sang a song talking about revolution, which, if you don't know, is beautiful.
Even Stevie Wonder flew in and he didn't even tell us he was coming. He just arrived and said that he wanted to go on and sing "We Just Want to Say We Love You." And he said, "Will that be all right?" Yes. So that was very definitely a memorable, and I shall never, ever forget Jessie Norman singing Amazing Grace at the end of the conference. And this woman had this huge voice. And, well, it was just beautiful. And then she went from Amazing Grace into Freedom, Oh Freedom.
Part of what that does was signal to the world, this is a big campaign, you need to listen to us, but also gave us all the inspiration